Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. 4 dead in police operation in Zambia, St. Catherine. Borough residents living in fear following brazen gun attack on the weekend. And later, West Indies women make it 2 wins from 2 at ICC World Cup. I'm Krista Campbell and here are the details. We begin with news that 4 men who were killed during a police operation in Zambia's central village, St. Catherine, remain unidentified. Police are still on the scene. Anthony Lugg has the details.
Thank you. So, residents in the Zambia community here in central village, St. Catherine, were awakened by a barrage of gunshots sometime before 3 o'clock Wednesday morning. It's reported that the police were on an operation in the area when they were fired upon by gunmen. Head of the Area 5 Police, Assistant Commissioner Gary Griffith, spoke with our news team.
The entire space here is out there where men frequently engage each other and engage the security forces. Unfortunately, during this morning engagement, 4 were shot fatally. I'm imploring persons from the community to desist from harboring criminals.
Now, residents in the community are tight-lipped. Most of whom we spoke with say they're fearful, but we're being told by the police that residents aren't the only one who are in fear.
People might not be aware, but persons from these communities who want to get basic items from delivered units such as bread trucks, juice trucks, have to go onto the central village main road to do business. Extortion and all the criminal activities taking place make this place a feared place. We don't want communities where people.
Now, the men who were killed in this morning's operation remain unidentified. Investigators from the police force as well as Indicom are still here combing the scene. We will be monitoring the situation and will provide update in subsequent newscasts. Until then, it's back to you in studio.
Thanks, Anthony. Now, still in St. Catherine, residents of Southborough in Portmore are voicing their frustration at the ongoing violence in that community. More in this report.
A Southborough family leaves the community with bags packed Tuesday morning. The reason?
We're gonna leave, we have to leave because probably all when time on a gun, man come a page where man come a look and them somebody. Them have some woman a scrutinize we out when we come here.
This comes 72 hours after gunmen sprayed bullets on 9 houses, injuring 1 person in the process. We're being told, however, that the tension in the community spans months. This family has been on edge after 4 of their relatives were shot last month.
4 shots me received. 2 in my back and 2 in my belly. I just the mercy of God have me here to the day when me can. And my niece still in the hospital, said we.
The police have been maintaining a strong presence in the area, but while that's expected to bring some level of calm, residents are frustrated.
We need peace in the community. We cannot live like this. Now is not the time for war. Now is the time for we look to Jesus. Every day we get up in this violence and crime. We need to stop it.
Right now the whole house empty. We have a 7-bedroom and we cannot stay here because them say them are going to kill off the whole away. Anytime them catch a straight gunshot.
Meanwhile, Councillor for the Southborough Division, Ainsley Parkins, has condemned the attacks.
I'm in close contact with the police, and I am asking them again to investigate, do their investigation, and act accordingly.
Commanding Officer for the St. Catherine South Division, Senior Superintendent Christopher Phillips, visited Southborough recently and appealed to residents to report what they know to the police. Anthony Lugg, TVJ News.
A 31-year-old farmer has been charged with the March 4 murder of Tyrone Thompson in Shrewsbury, Portland. Carvel Blackett, otherwise called Ada, of Binns Lane, Portland, was charged on Tuesday. Information is that Mr. Thompson was attacked about 2 a.m. after leaving a party in Fruitful Vale on March 4. It's reported that Mr. Thompson and another man got into an argument at the party. Mr. Thompson left the venue and was walking home when he was attacked. He was chopped and later pronounced dead at hospital. To other news now, the long-awaited reform of the public sector compensation system is scheduled to get underway on April 1 this year. Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark gave an update as he opened the budget debate in Parliament on Tuesday.
Dr. Nigel Clark demonstrating Jamaica's complex public sector compensation system by printing the 325 different salary scales and 185 allowances on multiple sheets of paper. The United Kingdom, with roughly 67 million people, has 7 pay grades in the public sector. By contrast, Jamaica's population is 2.7 million. To show the inequitable nature of Jamaica's system, Dr. Clark referenced stenographers in Parliament and the courts who do similar jobs.
But in our complicated system, I'll just show you, one of them have 1 grade up here, sir. The other one have a grade down there, sir. And they're compensated entirely differently. This breeds inequity, it breeds tension, it breeds resentment and negative attitudes.
And so the system will be changed to improve fairness.
No public sector employees' net pay will be lower as a result of the new compensation system.
Meanwhile, the Pensions Act will also be updated.
One of the problems with pensions is that you can't take it with you when you change your job. You have to go in and cash in for a refund. That don't help you, and that don't help the people of Jamaica. So we are taking steps, Madam Speaker, to bring an act, a bill to Parliament to address that, to allow you to take your pension with you when you change your job.
The vesting period, which is the length of time a worker must stay with a company before getting pension benefits, will move to 5 years. In the meantime, Jamaica is working to implement an unemployment insurance scheme to protect those who lose their jobs. Phase 3 of the program, which includes the legal and operational framework, should begin this month. Andrea Chisholm, TVJ News.
And Jamaica is on track to once again bring its debt-to-GDP ratio below 100%. At the end of March 2020, the debt-to-GDP ratio was roughly 94%. It went to 110% at the end of March 2021 due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Pleased to report and thankful that along with strong GDP growth and strong jobs growth, we also have significantly reduced our debt-to-GDP ratio, which is now projected to be in the region of 96% by March of 2022.
If there are no major shocks, it should reach below 90% by March 2023. Meanwhile, 4 potential investors have expressed interest in Jamaica's integrated resorts development plan. Such development should have a minimum of 1,000 hotel rooms, 500 of which should be luxury rooms, with a minimum capital investment of $500 million.
At least $1 billion, but probably more.
Despite the economic shocks and the possibility of further increases in food prices, there's a call for farmers to be wary of the situation which persists locally when adjusting food prices. O'Shane Masters explains.
The UN Food Agency last month reported that world food prices hit a record high, led by a surge in vegetable oils and dairy products, to post a year-on-year increase of 20.7%. The Food and Agriculture Organization's FAO Food Price Index, which tracks the most globally traded food commodities, averaged 140.7 points, up from 135.4 in January. But with the Russia-Ukraine crisis and logistics issues, it's expected that there could be another record this month. President of the Jamaica Agricultural Society, JAS, Lenworth Fulton, in a recent TVJ interview, said Jamaicans should brace for increases. However, he's cautioning farmers against excessive increases.
Our farmers, we know that things are hard, but we are asking you still to be careful as to how you move the prices of food up, because we still have to feed our people. And with this big argument the other day about $9,000 per week for minimum wage, it tells where Jamaica is. Most people, are quite a large group of people,
are working 9,000 a week. They can't afford much more, so we have to be conscionable.
It's why Mr. Fulton is calling on the government to remove the General Consumption Tax, GCT, on a number of agricultural items and also on table eggs.
For them to reduce, take the GCT from barbed wire. There are certain things, people don't use barbed wire now, fencing their yard or their homes in residential area. So it's something that is used, probably 90% of it in agriculture. So all these tools and things that agriculture would use, we're calling on government to remove the GCT and them, table eggs, barbed wire, certain tools, and so on. So yes, there's a time to recalibrate and look on how we are going to move forward on these taxation measures.
O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
And it's time for a break, but stay with us for more stories when the Midday News returns. Welcome back to the Midday News. Traffic came to a standstill along the Luana Main Road in St. Elizabeth after a delivery truck overturned this morning. It's unclear what caused the accident, but looters had a field day as they helped themselves to drinks and other goods which were being transported in the truck. Police and firefighters cleared the roadway. The Drapers Harbour Fishing Association in Portland gifted fisherfolk 2 new vessels on Wednesday. The initiative was made possible through a joint collaboration between the Tourist Enhancement Fund, the U.S. Embassy, and the Alligator Head Foundation. Speaking on behalf of East Portland MP Anne-Marie Vaz, Shanique Green said the donations will improve the day-to-day activities of fisherfolk.
These vessels are safer, they are more fuel efficient, and we are confident that they will improve the day-to-day lives of these fisher folks. The capacity building by Alligator Head Foundation will allow fishers to fish outside of the protective zones, and the vessels will also enable them to offer recreational activities and other services to persons inside of the zone.
President of the Drapers Harbour Fishing Association, Kern Wright, expressed his gratitude.
These boats will help in improving our organization and enhance and sustain our livelihood, individually and collectively. We are thankful that despite our small size and newness of our organization, our needs were never overlooked.
The vessels are also fully registered. To some COVID-related news now, 4 more persons have died in Jamaica from COVID-19, increasing the death toll to 2,835. 3 of the deaths were recorded in St. Catherine and 1 in Westmoreland. And Jamaica's COVID-19 positivity rate declined yesterday to 3.9%. 18 new cases were confirmed from 2,009 samples. Meanwhile, the country's COVID-19 hospitalizations further declined by 5 to 81. 2 of the patients are severely ill, while 2 are in critical condition. 50 more people have recovered from COVID-19, bringing the country's total recoveries to 78,996. Now for the latest in the economy, here's Cody Barrett with the Business Minute.
Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark revealed that the country's unemployment insurance feasibility study is almost complete.
In Jamaica, we've completed the first 2 or 3 phases of the feasibility study, and we have taken several consultation exercises with trade unions, employers, and government entities. The 3rd and final stage is to commence this month and entail the design of a potential legal and operational framework and a roadmap for implementation. And the study will be completed by June 2022. We'll take the findings to Cabinet for a decision, and then we take it from there, Madam Speaker.
He says having an unemployment insurance scheme would change the social security landscape in Jamaica. In business overseas, U.S. President Joe Biden will sign an executive order on Wednesday requiring the government to assess the risk and benefits of creating a central bank digital dollar, as well as other cryptocurrency issues. The White House reports 16% of people in the U.S. have invested in, traded, or used cryptocurrencies. The executive order also directs the Department of Commerce Commerce to look at developing, designing, and implementing crypto systems. And that's it for the Business Minute. I'm Cody Ann Barrett.
And here's a preview of what's coming up in this evening's Health Report.
In this evening's Health Report, we look at multisystem inflammatory syndrome in children, MISC.
Not every child who end up with MISC really would have had symptoms that were noticeable of COVID. So the parents may not have known that their child had contracted COVID. And as such, when they show up with signs of MISC, which are some of the signs that you can see with COVID as well, the test for COVID may even be most likely be negative at that time. But when they do the antibody testing, that's when they may know that, yes, this child had COVID.
That's the Health Report in Primetime News at 7. And now for today's Healthy Living tip. Monitor your child closely for MISC symptoms. Keep the child hydrated and seek urgent medical attention.
Time now for the top regional and international stories with Sandy Williams.
In regional news, a new report by the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO, says the COVID-19 pandemic had a disproportionate impact on women in the Americas, including the Caribbean. It says the virus contributed to increased gender inequality in health and threatened women's development and well-being. PAHO says the report, Gender and Health Analysis, COVID-19 in the Americas, which was launched yesterday, explores the effects of the pandemic on women and girls and presents findings in areas such as health, employment, and social welfare. On the international scene, little by little, COVID-19 is going away, at least based on the latest numbers from the World Health Organization, WHO. New global cases have declined by 5% and deaths have dropped by 8%. The WHO released the update on Tuesday. However, the figures were actually last week's numbers. But even though there's a drop in cases and deaths, the WHO says it's important to note several countries are slowly creating more targeted testing strategies, which means there are fewer tests happening. New cases still topped more than 10 million last week. More than 5.9 million people around the world have died from COVID-19 since the start of the pandemic. And those were the top regional and international stories. I'm Sandy Williams.
And we take another break now, but Renardo Brown is standing by with your midday sports report when we return.
Welcome back. It's now time for your midday sports. The vice captain of the West Indies women's team, Anisa Mohammed, says the belief among the players is high despite their poor form coming into the 50-over World Cup. The Windies women made it 2 wins from 2 on Tuesday night after a tense 7-run victory over defending champions England in Dunedin. It means the Caribbean ladies have now beaten 2 of the top 5 teams in the world in ODI cricket after losing their last 4 games coming into the tournament. Mohammed, who ended with 2 for 24 in dismissing England for 218, chasing 225, says the players are making the best of the underdog tag.
I think we have quite a lot of players, who have been middling the ball, who have been finding some form lately. I think they have been finding form at the right time at the World Cup. We have quite a number of game changers in our team. And I think this time around, quite a number of players believe in themselves. And as a team, we believe in each other. So it's just a matter of whoever goes out there, keep believing in themselves. And we just know that we believe in them.
A 61-run ninth-wicket partnership between Sophie Eccleston, 33, and Kate Cross, 27, threatened to take the game away from the Windies before Mohammed deflected a ball for a run-out and then bowled Anya Shrubsole without scoring to bowl England out for 218. Shamela Connell ended with 3 for 38. Earlier, after Deandra Dottin 31 and Hayley Matthews 45, saw the Windies to 81 without loss. The Caribbean side slumped to 98 for 4. Before player of the game, Shemaine Campbell 66 and Jamaican Chedi Nation 49 not out posted 123 runs for the 5th wicket. The Windies eventually made 225 for 6 from their 50 overs, with Eccleston taking 3 for 20. With the victory, the Windies have now defeated host New Zealand and defending champions England and are in a good position to make the semi-finals. And at Sportsline, the West Indies men's team were 6-7 without loss in their first innings reply to England's 311 all-out on day 2 of the first test in Antigua. England had started the day at 268 for 5 with Johnny Bairstow 109 and Chris Wokes 24, the batsman at the crease. The visitors were able to add 43 runs in the morning session, with Wokes the first to be dismissed for 28. Bairstow was last man out for 140 as Jaden Seals added 2 more wickets to his tally to end with 4 for 79. Kemar Roach, Jason Holder and Alzari Joseph all had 2 wickets. In football, Kylian Mbappe's added time goal is the only thing separating Paris Saint-Germain and Real Madrid as they meet in their UEFA Champions League round of 16 second leg tie at the Santiago Bernabeu today at 3 p.m. Madrid eliminated Paris at this stage of the 2017-18 Champions League en route to winning the competition for the 3rd year running, although the French club had come out on top in their 2 previous knockout ties between the clubs. Madrid must win the game by 2 clear goals in order to progress, while PSG only need a draw to make the quarterfinals on aggregate. In the other game today, Manchester City are expected to rest some key players for their game against Sporting CP as they lead the tie 5-0 coming into the second leg. An emphatic victory in Lisbon has put Manchester City in sight of a 5th successive UEFA Champions League quarterfinal and left Sporting CP facing the prospect of another heavy last 16 loss. That result equaled both Sporting's heaviest home European defeat and City's biggest away win in UEFA competition. And finally, Kyrie Irving racked up a season-high 50 points as his Brooklyn Nets side ended a 4-game losing run with a 132-121 win away to the Charlotte Hornets on Tuesday in the NBA. The 29-year-old, whose game time has been limited by his decision not to take a COVID-19 vaccine, landed 9 of his 12 three-point attempts. And Giannis Antetokounmpo scored 39 points as the Milwaukee Bucks won 142-115 at the Oklahoma City Thunder. A 5th successive win makes the Bucks the Eastern Conference in-form team. Now, elsewhere, the Golden State Warriors had a 112-97 win over the Los Angeles Clippers. DeAndre Ayton posted 21 points and 19 rebounds as the Phoenix Suns edged out the Orlando Magic 102-99, while the Memphis Grizzlies dominated the New Orleans Pelicans 132-111. And that's it for your Midday Sports Report. Krista, it's back to you.
Thanks, Ronaldo. Now, the West Indies women, they had a great run against England.
Yeah, first time beating England in the 50 over World Cup. That's massive. And they've lost their last 5 games against England in ODI cricket as well. So a massive win, 2 wins now from 2, and a semi-final spot in sight.
All right, good news there in cricket. And that's the Midday News. I'm Krista Campbell. Join us at 7 for Primetime News. On behalf of the news, sports, and production teams, have a good afternoon.